music and worship things that you're trying to get done. Yeah, does it make sense? Okay. So first, let's dive a little bit. So everybody ready? All right, let's go in. So some of the things, again, the learning objectives is, understand why AI is a valuable tool for the worship teams and creative ministries. Learn the skills of prompt engineering to produce powerful AI results. Discover 15 plus AI tools for songwriting, Bible study, planning rehearsals, visuals, recording, and songwriting, arranging, a bunch of things. Be activated to experiment with AI as a creative in your spiritual journey and use it as a practical ally. You know what that means? It means that we're gonna get to learn some tools that you can use in church, you can use as you create music, as you songwrite, as you produce, and as you serve the body. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah.
How many of you guys? Now, here's why that matters, and why we're gonna start with the most important superpower. I would think it's prompt engineering. Now, people are like, I'm not an engineer. That sounds hard. That sounds really difficult. It's like, don't worry about it. This is gonna be a really easy class. That hopefully everybody gets something out of it. Now, if you already know some of these things, I always take the meat, spit out the bones. Yeah, if you already know a concept and just, I'm sure there's something here for everybody. So just, give your best shot and hopefully everybody gets something important and transformative out of this. So, raise your hand if you've ever used ChatGPT. Again, if you haven't, can save you a lot of time and money. Now, so if you've used ChatGPT, you've done what's called prompt engineering at its most basic form, right? Say you're writing a text and you want ChatGPT to help you edit that text, right? And you go like, make this sound like I'm funny, genius, like I'm amazing, and like I have the best heart and intentions of, and then ChatGPT is going to just rewrite that text with, a really funny tone, and it's going to say things that you probably want. You haven't come up with that. Man, ChatGPT is a genius, right? So anyway, that's in its basic is prompt engineering, right? It's telling your question to AI so that AI can formulate the answer. Does that make sense? Now, here's what happens with AI. Some people, and what I have here, the answer is the size of the question, right? Meaning, AI is not going to give you an answer better than the question that you're asking. Does that make sense? And a lot of people get lost in AI because they just ask really basic questions. Hey, you can see it. That they're just asking a really basic question. Write a song. And AI is like, well, what song you want to write? As opposed to saying, using Psalm 23, and in the style of Brian Johnson, I want you to write a worship song corporate that my church can sing for Easter. And then go. And I want it to be in the key of C and have a verse, a chorus, and a bridge. Go. And then you give a more polished, right, more clear and precise instruction, and then you'll be able to get more precise results, right? Anyway, but that is the first point. So prompt engineering. Why matters? Prompt engineering is how you talk to AI. The better your prompt, the better your results. AI tools are only as powerful as the input they receive. It mirrors what you give, right? So the core principle here is AI doesn't come with your theology, your music style, or your heart. You must train it, okay, to get the best out of it, right? So the first one is, who it is, what you want, how it should behave, right? Those are the important things that you got to keep in mind as you talk to AI. Again, this is in the context of ChatGPT. We're going to explore a lot more other AI tools, but ChatGPT is one that is so broad, right? That it's just going to be such a useful tool in so many layers of everything you're doing, right? So again, the first thing, prompt engineering. You think of yourself as an engineer. As a matter of fact, a lot of companies now are looking for prompt engineers. Prompt coordinator, prompt engineer, some prompt manager, somebody that can ask the right questions to AI to produce the right results, right? So, now this matters because, again, if you don't have clarity in your ask, you will not have clarity on your answer. Does it make sense? How many of you guys have an iPhone or Android or anything like that? Yeah. So the new phones are coming with AI on them, and so some people are a little concerned, right, about privacy and yada, yada, yada. Now, this is my personal belief, right, and I just want to share it really quick just to give a little bit of sort of vision where I think, this is important. You guys remember when social media came out? Everybody was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should put my stuff on social media. And again, if you feel from the Lord that you shouldn't be on social media, don't be on social media, right? But here's the thing. I love the Great Commission, right? And the Great Commission says, go all the way until the ends of the earth and basically tell everything I've taught you, right? That's the one thing that we're in this planet to do, is just to go and teach the world about Christ, right? Now, what happens if you take the light out of a room? Just be dark, right? What happens if you take the saltiness out of salt? It's for nothing. What happens if you take Christians out of social media or any platform of influence? Who is going to teach, right, the world about Christ? Does it make sense? So I think we could have potentially the most Christ-centered AI ever. If Christians teach it what it is to be a Christian. Does it make sense? Say you're in ChatGPT. You give a prompt engineer and ChatGPT tells you, the wrong answer. Guess what? Feel free to say, hey, that's actually not correct. Here's the right answer. Does it make sense? So I believe that, if anything, Christians should be the most active people on AI, so that, we can teach until the ends of the earth. We can teach all of the technological advances, everything. It can be done for the glory of God or for the glory of man, right? And it depends on who. It depends on the user. It depends on the person that's feeding information, that is giving those promptings. Does that make sense? Yeah. I wanted to give that in there. Again, take that to the Lord. That's just, again, my opinion. I think I prefer to live in that way than to live scared under a rock and be like, I'm not going to use anything. I'm just going to wait for the Lord to return and just not going to have a voice in the world, right? Again, not try to criticize you, and you're like, hey, you're in that journey. That's fine. It's fine. But, it's between you and the Lord again. But that's sort of my experience and my journey. It's like, hey, let's get a little, dude. Sorry, I see so many known faces. So, okay. So, does it make sense? Yeah? So let's go back to prompt engineering, okay? That's a little rabbit trail in there, but I thought it was important. For example, basic prompt. Write a worship song, right? Powerful prompt. You are a prophetic worship songwriter who writes in the style of Jen Johnson. Write a 3-verse worship song in the key of D, inspired by Isaiah 43:2, with a simple chorus for a youth service. How much better is that, right? You're going to end up with a song that's like, man, this is amazing, right? Okay, plan a set list. You're leading, let's say you want to plan a set list. This is really basic, okay, but it's very, how many of you guys have struggled planning a set list? I can't come with any songs today, right? How many of you guys have been there? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, yeah, half the room, right? So you're leading, so instead of telling ChatGPT, plan a set list. Tell them you're leading a worship for communion Sunday. Suggest a 5-song set with themes of the cross and intimacy, including transitions and scriptural references, right? Or let's say you're studying the Bible. You're like, man, I don't understand this Bible verse, or I don't have the historical context for it. I don't read it. Instead of just being like, explain this to me. You can say, give me a worship devotional summary of John 15 with 3 reflection questions and a closing prayer in a conversation time. There you go. Now, I'm not saying that you take that and just copy paste it, but at least it's going to be a good starting point. Yeah? And so what I find ChatGPT is useful for is to get things rolling. Get things rolling. Right? You don't have to use it. I wouldn't recommend you do, especially if you're writing songs. Don't write AI songs and be like, I wrote this by myself, everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it is a great place to kind of get the juices flowing, right? Okay, so activation. Write a basic and advanced prompt for a worship lyric, a devotional, or a team announcement, okay? These are all things that happen weekly, you guys, okay? And if you're stuck into like, oh my gosh, this is going to take me an hour to come up with a worship set list, No, just maybe be like, hey, ChatGPT, give me a list of 15 songs that I can choose from in this particular theme and in this thing. And boom, you get those 15, and then you make the set list. But if you have to sit there being like, oh my gosh, I gotta come up with a list of 10 songs, I don't even know where to start, right? How many of you guys have been there, right? Okay, anyway. So, number 2, the big why. I've spoken to this a little bit already, but why worship teams should care about AI. AI is the next evolution of the tools we already use, like ClickTracks, VAWs, Pro Center, anybody, we've used all these tools already. Before these things, we had the guy with the reflections and the little, I remember those, how do you call it, transparencies, right? How many of you guys are, I'm dating myself here. Well, you guys are right now, I'm 40, so listen. But back in the day, we had these transparencies and we'd be moving them up on that. I'm glad we don't have that anymore. I'm glad we have computers and people with big screens and people are like, what is in there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And it just facilitates an encounter with light. It facilitates people not have to be distracted, right? And so that's the whole thing. As long as you can facilitate, take distractions, take necessary work out of the way, then you get more time and more energy to focus on the one thing, right? All right, so you guys can read through this thing. Again, in church history, church has not always embraced technology, but when it has, it became the leading, component of culture. I prefer church to lead culture than not church leading culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, it's part of that thing, right? So AI is simply a tool, not a substitute for the Holy Spirit. Yeah, very clear about that. Again, AI is simply a tool. It's not a substitute for the Holy Spirit. You got to steward it. It's a powerful tool, but you got to steward it, and you got to jump on them and like, hey, how can I train this, right? Okay. Daniel 1:17. God gave them knowledge of all literature and learning. All right. You guys know the story of Daniel. They go to Babylon, they show up, and they ended up being smarter than anybody in Babylon. Babylon was symbolized like the brokenness, the fallen, the sinful, right? These guys come into that culture, and they're, because of the Lord, wiser and more knowledgeable than anybody else, okay? What happens if a generation rises up and teaches technology the way of heaven, right? Teaches it, and we fill up technology, and then all of a sudden people in China or in other nations, China, because I have an intern from China that's here, but you have like, they're learning about Christ because of AI is teaching them what you prompted or what you taught it to. Does that make sense? Anyway. Okay, so core values for using AI in worship. Just a couple of things, okay? Again, just this is important. Discernment, okay? Not every tool is clean. Use it wisely and their spiritual guidance. Creativity, you're not replacing creativity. You're multiplying it. Super important, okay? I don't want anybody to walk out here being like, Antonio's telling us to write songs with ChatGPT and forget about this skill. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it's just a great tool. You're not replacing creativity, you're empowering it, you're multiplying it, okay? So, number 3, stewardship. AI can save hours, right? This is, if your church doesn't have a lot of budget, AI can help you increase the level of excellence and save some money, So that's good, okay? Use it for free. Time for prayer, for people, for always with a purpose, okay? Let's keep going. Top 17 AI tools for worship teams. You guys ready? All right, we're gonna go through these ones, okay? I wanna make sure we have a little bit of time at the end for questions, but basically, right here you guys have a bunch of tools, right? Now, I've combined the tools I think are helpful for worship teams. There's literally hundreds out there, okay? And there's pretty much back in the day when the iPhone came out, there was an app for everything. Yeah. Now there's an AI for everything, right? And so it's just kind of the next level of, you're gonna find AI for everything. Again, use it wisely. It's not to substitute creativity. It's always under spiritual guidance by the Holy Spirit, and not to replace your creativity and hard work, but to empower it and help, serve well. Okay. All right, so for songwriting, okay, now we're not going to be able to point each of these, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time on each of these topics, like songwriting, Bible study and teaching, team management and scheduling, rehearsals, stems and audio editing, visual media and social content. Those are 5, topics, 5 areas of knowledge and action that every worship team has, right? Are you guys in worship teams? Yeah, how many of you guys have had to deal with arranging or understanding music theory or whatever? Does it make sense? Yeah. Do you have a question? Oh no, you were just saying. Okay, me. Good. So now this is a couple of these. We might have time to explore, but I tell you what, I wrote here the name of each of the apps. You could just take this into Google or ChatGPT, right? And it will tell you exactly, the website for it. Most of these are free. Now, some of them have an extra layer of paid, right? Which means that you can, you'll be able to like get maybe a more tokens or something. But most of them have a free version that you can utilize right away. So for songwriting, arranging, and music theory. So I put this one is very, very powerful. How many of you guys have had this problem? You have a lyric or an idea. Say you're at church on a Sunday morning, and the pastor preaches a sermon that moves your heart, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen, for instance, the grace of God so clearly, right? And then you're like, oh, man, I'm moved by this. I would love to be able to sing to the Lord about this. I'll be able to write a song and maybe share it, with my mom or my friends or the world, right? Guess what? You can literally turn lyrics into a complete song using this guy's. No, that's a different one. This one right here, okay? You literally can just come right here. I already did one for you guys. I basically entered a really simple prompt. It was like something about the never-ending grace of God, and then came up with endless mercy. And let's see if it plays. Well, it's not playing, but there. It's just 100% AI made. All I did is go to sound.com, I entered a prompting, and it came out with that song. Now, I would not recommend you taking that and put it out on social media and be like, check out the song I wrote, right? I'll be lying, right? But I do think it's important to be like, hey, you know what? I have this topic, I need some inspiration. I need to just, I have something, I have this in my heart, I need to explore it. Maybe you're trying to write and there's a verse, man, I want to. You hear your pastor preach about the grace, and then he says some verses, and you take those verses and you go and you put them in AI, and you're like, hey, I want to explore some lyrics, and then all of a sudden spit out some songs, some lyrics, you're like, I really like this. I'm gonna make it my own, and begin to develop it or live with it for a bit. See what the Lord begins to download and give you. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's gonna be now. It's out now, but the .music. So .com is .music. It's a new domain that they came out with just for real people. So it's getting to the point now with YouTube, and YouTube just now, it's last week, stopped allowing monetization of AI created content. And so it just happened last week. And it's going to move in that direction. It's going to move in the direction that only content that's created by real humans. Again, if you're a verified real human, you can have a .music, whatever Antonio Mari .music website, right? And it's going to move in that direction, I think. But that shouldn't stop you from, again, multiplying the creativity, right? With the tools available. That's what it's about, right? Saving time, multiplying creativity, and help serve the church and help those around you and the Lord. Okay, all right. So, yeah. I just put in there the verse, and it came out with that whole thing. Again, you have a question? She asked just for the recording, she asked if it came out with all the background, all the band, the arrangement. I said yes. Go ahead.
Also, you can upload your MIDI and the production.
Yes.
Can you rearrange your song?
Yes, you can rearrange your song. Yes. So he said that website also can rearrange your song if you put it on that. Yes. Oh, I could zoom in. Yes. Into this thing. Good call. All right, how about that? Is that better? Or is that better? Well, you guys can have it in your phone. That's why I have the thing. But it is helpful to have it up there too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to zoom out for the keyboard. Let's do that really quick. Okay, no worries. As you can take a picture of it and you got it?
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Here we go. I'm just gonna go back.
Thank you.
Not a problem. All right, let's keep going here. Okay, so songwriting, arranging, music theory. Okay, audio. How many of you guys have ever wanted to create gang vocals and you don't have a group of 10 people to do gang vocals for you. Yeah? Okay, that will do for you. Automate will do it for you. You know, I have producer friends that use that all the time. So no longer you have to gather. No, you do if you want the oil that's on these people, and if you want them to worship. But if you just want to create a demo, and you're like, man, I don't have a budget for it. I would love to have some background vocals for this. You go to that website, you enter the lead vocal in there, and it'll let you pick the same part. It will put it in all of these different people, and you just put them all in there, and then you have a group of 10 people singing background vocals for you. Isn't that great? I think that's awesome. I think that's, now, if I'm doing a live recording, right, and want to capture worship, then the goal is not to create that. The goal is to but that's going to be way better of a demo to share with a producer, to share with a fellow musician, right, than to just have you with your guitar. Well, maybe it is better to you with you. Up to you. You decide. But I think it's cool to be able to create. There's a lot more to it. Okay, but anyway, again, ChatGPT Cloud. So this is amazing. Code, write lyrics, devotional, service flow, chord to chord. Okay, how many of you guys? This is an amazing, very powerful chord.com. Yeah, again, you put this on Google, it'll pop up, right? Create chord progressions with tone and style option. How many of you guys don't play an instrument proficiently? Okay, a lot of you guys. And so, if you don't play an instrument proficiently and you want to songwrite, and you want to create chords, or let's say I don't know how to come up with this chord or whatever. Chord.com you just enter the chord and it will play it for you. Matter of fact, let me see if I can just pull it up now. I'm trying not to go into all of these ones because then it will be here for hours. Okay, but you guys can let's just do this one right here, that one. Okay, so I'm gonna go into chord. Okay, so chord.com. So, for example, you just, you can change the chords, click in there, you can, edit all the chords, select any chord, and it will just literally, okay, you can change the chord, you can make it long, you can add a bunch of other things in there, you can add rhythms, you can drums, other instruments, you can select instruments, you can change the tempo for it, the key, anyway, all of that good stuff. I think it's amazing. Again, I use it all the time. Let's say if I'm songwriting, and I'm like, man, I really want to just close my eyes and just kind of zone in, pray about a lyric or something. I don't want to have to be playing the piano while I do that, or the guitar, or I'm playing the guitar and I want a piano to play alongside me. I just put the chord progression and it's just, I'll play along with it and just kind of vibe with it and begin to sing. And, you know what I'm saying? And put a drums with it. It's just a great way to arrange, okay? Again, I'm not going to be doing all of these ones in depth, but just out of chord chanting, suggest chord progressions, genre, and mood, okay? So just enter the mood, and I'll give you a chord progression. It's amazing! That's incredible, okay? And so if you don't write songs, okay, out of this class, come next year. All right, so Bible study and teaching prayer. Yeah, go ahead.
So I understand you
Yes. Well, okay. So her question is, you can generate lyrics, but can you generate something based on sound? So on this one, this top one right here, in Suno, you can enter pretty much anything, and it will just create stuff for you. Now, again, this is just when you're stuck or whatever, you're stuck. You're like, I need some help with, creating something. But I'll ask you to do it, let it play you, right? Instead, let it vibe, when you hear the song, you're like, man, this is inspiring. Let it inspire you, let it move you, so that you begin to create out of it, right?
What I mean is, if you have a song,
Yeah.
but you don't get into it,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to put that sound down.
Yes. So she said, if you have a sound in your head, and you don't have, you don't know the notes or whatever, what I would do, there's another app called, I forgot the exact name of it right now. Maybe I have it in here. But basically, figure out the key signature that you're in just by entering a melody. Okay, so that would be the first step. You sing onto it, and it will tell you what key you're in.
Auto key?
Auto key, there you go. Auto key, that's right, thank you, brother. So auto key. So you just download it on your phone and you just sync with it, and it'll tell you what key you're in. You're in the key of C major, okay? And then you can just take that, figure out the key you're in, and you take that melody to a voice melody and enter it into, the Suno, and it will from there you begin to just create. I mean, it depends. It's very powerful. There's a lot of options, but it definitely can help. Yeah, does it make sense? Okay, bye.
Yeah, you also can record a voice note in cell phone, export to GarageBand,
Yeah.
exporting a MIDI,
Yes.
and soon into
Yes, you got to do the whole thing. So he's saying that you can export it, as a voice memo into GarageBand, and from GarageBand you can export it back into Suno. I'm trying, you can get so deep into this stuff. I'm trying to kind of just keep it simple over at surface level and allow you guys to just go home and kind of do it, because you could go just on Suno. I could do a whole course and teaching that, whole class and teaching that, and compare it with the DAW, with MIDI, and then you could get wild about this, but that probably lose half of you guys. But that's a really great clarifying thing. Thank you for contributing. Okay, let's do something. I'll go to one more question and then we'll continue going forward.
So I struggled with this for a little while.
Uh-huh.
And when I was talking to the Lord about it, I felt like he said, do you think I can speak to
Yeah.
AI? Because it's like, I don't have sometimes the language.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
in my heart.
That's awesome. She's saying that she used to struggle with the thought of using AI for some of the things, and that the Lord convicted her and told her, do you think I cannot use AI to speak to you? It's almost like she had built this wall between her and the Lord, saying, you speak to me through all these things, but not through AI. And it's like, if the Lord spoke through a donkey, I'm sure he can use computers, right? Anyway, that's a great contribution. Thank you. I agree with that. I think the Lord, again, it's all unto Him and surrender to Him, right? If you make a God or anything else than God, then He won't speak to you through an idol, but He'll definitely speak to you through everything else when you make Him God, right? So, God and Lord over it. So, all right, let's keep going. Bible study and teaching prep, right? And Bible GPT is awesome. Logos AI. This is really good also for songwriting, because say you have a song and you're like, man, I don't know if this is theologically correct, right? That's a really important question. I would go to ChatGPT or GPT and ask, hey, I have these lyrics. I'm not sure if they're theologically correct according to Western tradition or whatever. Could you check them for me and tell me if there is any red flags? Boom. And if anything, you're gonna learn, right? Oh, you can ask it, thinking as an evangelical theologian, because then just train it, right? Give it the right prompt. You're thinking as an evangelical, theologian. Would you check these lyrics and tell me if there's any red flags? Theological gray areas, whatever. And then can you give me options to fix it, right? And then it will give you some options. YouVersion AI tools, amazing stuff in there. And then just take these and check them out yourself, right? I recommend this. I use them all the time. Whenever I'm songwriting, whenever I am listening to a message, for example, I take notes on church. I just put my phone to record. I record the whole message, and then I upload it to ChatGPT, and I say, can you do a summary for me? And can you write a song about it? To inspire me, right? Okay. Can you tell it to me in poetic form? Could you write an argument opposite to it to challenge my thinking? Could you explain it to me as if I was 4 years old? Could you explain it to me as if you were the best theologian on the planet? Anyway, I was going to say, and all I did is just record it, upload it to ChatGPT, and then I'm just telling it, and then I say, I want you to read it to me with British accent, and then it's going to read it to me while I am driving or whatever, and I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to expand on the sermon that I just heard, and that's going to get my wheels turning to do a teaching myself, or to write a song, or to whatever else, whatever you do to glorify the Lord. Does that make sense?
Bless you, mate.
Team management and scheduling. Okay, any admins in the room? Project manager people? Okay, you're like, yes, I use ChatGPT all the time. Okay, so it's so good. There's, I think Grammarly is a really good one. Have you guys used Grammarly? If you've gone to college, you probably have, right? it's crazy the stats now of this. There's some new regulations coming to AI because it definitely could be used, it could be used as a crutch, and the goal again is not to do that, but to just empower the Lord, God-given gift, right?
We want unregulated AI.
Yeah. So team management and scheduling. Okay, so Planning Center with AI integrated, Planning Center plus ChatGPT. For example, let's say you have to write a note or follow-ups or summaries, or you want to write a bunch of emails, reminders. Be like, hey, we have an event next month, and I want to send a weekly email to my team, and I want you to do every email with more urgency, reminding the team of the dates and the time, and I want you to do it so that it would be very convincing and beckoning, and that everybody would show up there on time, right? That's it. And you just boom, put it in there, and it's gonna put about 4 emails. Email number 1, email number 2, email number 3, email number 4. You just saved yourself like 2 hours of work. Now go read the Bible in those 2 hours. Go play your guitar. Don't do it on company time, though. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm talking about. I'm just joking a little bit there. But you get my point, right? The point is that you can expand and bring up the level of excellence in these areas to serve better. Okay, rehearsals, stems, and audio editing. Same thing. Okay, I'm gonna key in. So this one is awesome. Let me just open the website so you see it. These are all very user-friendly websites. And so this one is awesome because you can literally extract the vocal, the accompaniment, and various instruments from any audio and video. Right, so say, for instance, is that you want to get the vocals out of a song, and you want to change the key, and you want to put a male singer instead of a female singer, yeah? Because you're a male singer. You could do that with, multitracks.com also in some of their tools. But you could easily do that with all the tools I just taught you. You take track, put it in here, you will take out the vocal out of the track, and then you just go to the first app, I said Sono, right? All these apps, Sono, there you go. And you're gonna go to that app, and then you're gonna create a new vocal that is a male, growly if you like it like that, and then you're just gonna throw it in there in the right key, and then boom, there you have now the song with a male vocal in your key and your style. Does it make sense? So you can listen to it and be like, you know what? I think this is gonna work for Sunday, or I think it's gonna work for a tour, I think it's gonna work for a recording, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or I think this song really comes alive that I just wrote. I think it comes alive better in a female key, with a female singer, You don't have to call your friend singer anymore and be like, hey, by the 10th time this month, could you come and lay some demo vocals for me on this thing? And spend 2 weeks just scheduling the people, and then you have to tune it, and you have to, that makes sense? Again, if you're doing a record, I wouldn't do it with AI, right? But if you're just doing demos, you can really save time and really, get your workflow. And my favorite part about it is give access to a lot of people to creativity, because the truth is not everybody can afford $150 an hour for a studio, right? Not everybody can, has the schedule. If you work full time and your dream is to worship and create music and write songs, you're like, I can't, I get home, I'm exhausted, I can't just work for 8 hours. But you can put 30 minutes, right? And write some songs and kind of get going, right? Now, as you use AI, you're gonna learn from it. You're like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought about it, that particular phrase or that particular sound. And it becomes a teacher of sorts, right? As you begin to interact with it, and you can learn from the process and tweak it to serve the Lord, serve those around you, and serve your learning and your journey. Yeah. All right. Okay. Rehearsal. So Moises would do the same thing. It would take key. It would change the key, the tempo. It would insulate parts. All of that stuff. It's amazing. Okay. This is great for podcasts, clean up messy rehearsals, voice recordings. Chordify. This is awesome. Okay, auto-generate chords charts for YouTube and MP3s. Okay, so you have, I don't know how to record. You can just get most of the songs nowadays. But if you wrote a song and you don't know how to do the chords, I write songs all the time. And I'm like, oh gosh, it's my least favorite part is to have to go back and put all the chords in. And I can just put the demo in there with just me playing the guitar or the piano. And it will produce the chord chart, right? And so that's really helpful. Is this helpful so far, you guys? Is this Sandy? All right, great. That's good. Everybody was like, yeah. Okay, great. That's good. Okay. Visual media and social content, okay? Okay, so visual media and social content. How many of you guys use social media? You have an Instagram, you got anything? Okay. So back in the day, there's a lot more than these, and then I'm trying to stay very centered sort of on the church world, the worship teams, you know. But if you're also in marketing and social media, if you're an artist that want to have a social media presence to be able to just spread the good news in social media and tell the world about Christ and share your music with the world, how many of you guys would say that's you right there? A couple of hands, okay. So I would say social media can help you. Only 3 years ago, you would need a designer. You would need a designer. You would need somebody to do video for you. You would need, to just do a lot more expense and a lot more time to be able to just put assets out there on social media that look good and that share the message, right? Today, you literally can go to ChatGPT and describe it what you want and how to create an image for you. ChatGPT will create a logo for you in literally it took me a minute, so it's literally, you just tell what it is and create a logo. Matter of fact, we can maybe try that with it. Okay, let's try that, yeah? Should we?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me try and give you a prompting, okay?
Thank you. It's having a revival, and it's called Fire Falling, or whatever, Okay, good. Okay.
Let's see. So it's going to ask me color, style, things like that. Okay, so I would just say, I'm going to ask him, just give me an example. There, okay. So now it's just going to come with a logo, right? Now, listen, 3 years ago, before ChatGPT, if you want to do a logo for your team, you would have to contact a creative designer, have them put together the whole, it would take you a lot longer, okay, to do this thing. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I love working with creatives all the time. There you go. I love working with creatives all the time, okay? And I do it all the time. And I think there's no substitute for a person hearing from the Holy Spirit and creating something divinely inspired, okay? But again, if you're an artist without budget and that's preventing you from sharing the gospel and engaging your gift because you just don't have the time and resources to do it, I'm of the opinion that you shouldn't have to stop and be like, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, so I'm just not going to share my voice with the world. There's a verse that says, the entire universe standing on tiptoe, anxiously waiting to see the revealing of God's glorious sons and daughters. That's you, right? So why shouldn't you be revealed to the world as a glorious son and a daughter because you don't have budget to do a logo? Not that you need a logo to do that, but you get my point, right? Yeah. It's helpful to have things that engage in, look good, and share the message properly. You guys like that?
Yeah.
Right, question.
For graphics that are generated through AI, are you able to legally copyright?
I believe so, because it doesn't belong to anybody. That might change in the future, who knows, For now, I think you can still use it. By the time somebody watches this video in the future, it might be different, so check your local laws and law enforcement. Don't want to get into it, but I think for now you still can't, because it's still the Wild West of some of these things, meaning that, you're allowed to use it, And if not, now you take this and tell a designer, hey, can you make one like this, And it will be really easy for them to replicate it, But Canva, that's it, Canva.ai, if you guys know what it is, that's it as well.
Yeah.
I just love ChatGPT so much because there's other ones, Grok, there's a bunch of other chat, AI chats like this. But isn't that amazing? I mean, that would have taken you a couple of weeks, and then they say you don't like this, and be like, you can give me 5 variations of this one. Make one with a fiery bird, make one with whatever, changing it. Give me 5 other names that are more creative than this one. I don't know, you just get your juices flowing. Does that make sense? Go ahead, question. Yeah. Sorry, can you go one more time?
Many times I try to put words in an image, like create an AI image,
Yeah, he's saying that sometimes, you know, it doesn't kind of do the job quite a bit. But okay, we're almost out of time. I'm just gonna do one more thing, taking a little bit to answer the questions. We're almost out of time. I want to make sure that we go. Extensive topic, but I wanted to at least cover these tools and the reasoning behind it. Okay, you guys can go ahead and this just after this is some more, you know, some implications and prompt activations, and then final encouragement. Okay, but I wanted to make sure we cover all of these with you guys. And the sky's the limit. I would say this one thing again, prompt engineering, and that answers your question. The result that you get from AI is directly related to the prompt that you're giving it. So going back to the beginning, learn how to ask great questions. Learn how to formulate. You can even ask the chat to do this. Hey, I'm trying to write a song, but I have no clue how to prompt you to do this. Could you give me some options? Just think about it. Like again, you're gonna get the result of what you prompted to do, right? So yes, you could. Yes. You say, ask if we could help you write your prompt better. Yes, of course. You could just get in there, but again, you have to work with it. Now, I'll give you guys some prompting, some examples that you guys can use, right? And then this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just to get you guys going, get you guys started. Okay? Does it make sense? Again, I want to close this and then pray. Again, this is not to substitute your God-given creative gift, but it is to empower it and to facilitate you doing what you're called to do, to bless the body of Christ and to serve better. Does it make sense? That's my conviction, and that's what I want to walk up. But it's a great tool, very powerful tool, and that can really help you save money, maximize resources, and get your juices flowing for when you are stuck in a creative moment. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay, let me pray for you guys.